Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight at the David Roche Excellence in Advocacy Award ceremony. We are so happy that you are all here, and we're just now getting started with our live. I'm Erica Klauber, the Executive Director of Children's Craniofacial Association. It's my ultimate pleasure to be here and to be a part of this event, which has been such an affirmation of the work we do and the community of which we are a part. I want to welcome everyone and tell you that you feel free to make comments on the YouTube video here. We can pop those on the screen if you have some encouraging words to share or some congratulations. We'll be doing that throughout the live. And we can also see them, us that are in the presentation and doing the award ceremony. So thank you for all the love you've already shared. And we welcome you to put where you're from, where you're watching from, and what nominee maybe you're here to see. So again, thank you for that. I'm going to start quickly with just a little history of how we got to where we are and how we have come to define advocacy and how we're watching it evolve. Over a decade ago, a little blue book called Wonder came out. One of our board members, 𝐷𝐷 Dankelson, brought us all a copy to the CCA board retreat that year and said, "This is a game changer." She and our other board members pledged to go all in on bringing the message of kindness and acceptance to schools across the country. Peter Dankelson, 𝐷𝐷's son and a nominee tonight, was our first Wonder Kid, and together they started a literal tour across the country, bringing the book to life, but more importantly, showing children that despite our different appearances, we are truly more alike than different. Dozens of other CCA kids joined on as student speakers, and through this program, we began to recognize the power of self-advocacy. If our kids could speak confidently publicly, well, they were also more equipped to stand up to bullies, to ask for help when they needed it, to ask another student out on a date, and to eventually ace a job interview. The program wasn't just educating the public about facial differences, it was changing the way our CCA kids saw themselves. It took the question that we all sometimes ask, usually staring in a mirror with tears running down our face, "Why was I born this way?" and turned it around into an emphatic statement where we could proclaim, "I was born to do this." Another former board member, Russell Newman, suggested that we really needed to train and invest in our speakers. We needed to streamline the message and equip folks to handle the emotional highs and lows of going into schools where students would often share back their own stories of bullying, isolation, and trauma. We took on that challenge, and the Speakers Bureau was born. Khadija Moten, our outreach director, was hired from her time as an intern to facilitate and manage and grow the Speakers Bureau. And tonight, you can see what an amazing job she's done. She consulted with David Roche, Marlena Blavin, Patricia Simon, 𝐷𝐷 Dankelson, and now Dr. Jazz Gray and Rasheera Dobson to build a library of training videos, tip sheets, and quizzes for new speakers to train on. She also still to this day coordinates and manages speaking engagements by interfacing with schools and organizations who want to book our speakers. And she tracks all of these encounters and reports back the feedback so that we can reinvest and improve the program. Last year, as a further project of our Speakers Bureau, we hosted Encounter, which was a sort of relaunch to the program. Through this program, CCA affirmed, we want kids in classrooms, but we also want professionals in boardrooms. We want our speakers, all who have careers and credentials in their own right, to speak to audiences and train them on diversity, equity, inclusion, disability rights, and more. We awarded the inaugural David Roche Award for Excellence in Advocacy to Dr. Jazz Gray and Rasheera Dobson for their work in helping us build this speaking program I just spoke about. In this past year, we have focused on different areas of advocacy beyond just public speaking. We are now working to empower people to advocate for legislation such as ELSA and ALLIES Act, which would mandate coverage, insurance coverage, for craniofacial dental surgeries and hearing aids, respectively. This is another type of advocacy. We have also partnered with organizations like Face Equality International to define facial differences as a human rights issue and to push harder than ever before for protections due and owed to people with facial differences, and to understand and claim, when appropriate, the membership in and responsibility to the disability community. Still, other types of advocacy are exploding across the virtual landscape too. Increasing media representation and showing different lifestyles of people living with facial differences has been a huge boost to our advocacy efforts. We love CCA mom Stephanie Cooper's famous line, "More shares equal less stares." And we also believe if kids can see it, they can be it. It's vitally important to showcase different lifestyles, careers, races, genders, and abilities across our social platforms, website, and video channels. This is yet another way our community serve as advocates. And I would be remiss not to mention the grassroots advocacy that so many of the nominees tonight represent. From organizing parent support groups to working tirelessly to connect new parents to veteran parents, patients to doctors and hospitals, and offering hours of supportive communication, this is also advocacy. It is also advocacy to be the first patient undergoing a new type of distraction. And it is advocacy to allow residents and fellows to sit in on your team care appointments. The work that these nominees and winners do spans the gamut from broadcasting Different is Cool on YouTube, to shredding guitar on a concert stage, to being an upstander in their second grade classroom when someone else is being bullied, to being the person crying in the dark over the phone with a bereaved parent. The work is done out of love. And when you are in doubt that the world is a safe place, remember that love is a verb. When you do these actions, you are putting love into the world. I am so grateful for the love these advocates share generously, selflessly, and widely. I am in awe of the stories we read during this process and the hearts that shared them. It has been truly one of the best experiences of my life to read these nominations, and I wish we could read each and every one out loud tonight, but we had 71 stories submitted. Throughout those 71 stories, there was one common theme, and that is love. And tonight, as all of my interactions have been with the wonderful David Roche, they are rooted in love. Thank you so much for joining us, and we cannot wait to share some of these stories and winners with you. It is now my pleasure to introduce David. David Roche and truly his wife, Marlena Blavin, are heroes to CCA. They have supported us for many years with mentorship, guidance, volunteer work, speaking engagements, and financial support. They exude love for one another, not just as life partners, but as fully expressed human beings. They truly see one another's unique brilliance and celebrate it and lift each other up in the best way possible. It is beautiful, and it is a goal of mine to be like that. David and Marlena have made this award possible, and tonight is my honor to introduce David, who, as I mentioned earlier, is a man made out of love. Since I met him, David has always been a beacon of light and love. I am honored that we can award our winners the David Roche Award for Excellence in Advocacy tonight. In addition to the David Roche Award, David was awarded the Order of Canada for making Canada and the U.S. a better place as an advocate for facial difference rights and as an iconic pioneer in disability culture. He has appeared from New Zealand to Moscow to the UK, across Canada and the US, including at the White House, as a humorist, solo performer, actor, and filmmaker. He is featured in NFB's film Shameless. He is an author of The Church of 80% Sincerity, and most recently, has had a feature role as Otis in the film Happy Face. David loves working with children. He and his wife Marlena produced the educational video Love at Second Sight, which is available at no cost at loveatsecondsight.org. He and Marlena live in Roberts Creek, British Columbia, and he's joining us tonight from there. Welcome, David.
Wow. Erica, thank you. You are such an incredible speaker. I feel complimented for sure, and thank you very much. And thank all of you who were out there, and just a big thanks to Children's Craniofacial Association and the work that you all are doing. Wow, this is a historic night for me. A third of a century ago, I decided that I was a performer. I was 44 years old when I stepped on stage all by myself. Having been born with a facial difference, a vascular malformation, somehow it didn't stop me. I had lots of friends, lots of support, but I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it. And in fairly short order, I started earning a living. Not much at first, but then it got better. So I'm proud of that. And I learned things along the way. For example, I learned that I was good because I didn't know that at first. I was just blundering ahead, and people would tell me, "Oh, that was so great tonight. You changed my life." And I thought, well, they're just being nice to the little disfigured guy. But they weren't. It took me a couple of years to believe what they were saying and to believe in myself. So, what a gift that I got. Then I learned other things. I learned that everybody feels disfigured. I know that's a strong, heavy word, but it encapsulates how people see themselves. Everybody feels that there's something wrong with them. Usually it's physical, no, but not always. It can be mental, emotional, etc. And I learned that that's why people like what I do on stage. I get up there and uh, I look different, okay? And people are like, what did... And I say, when I count to three, I'm going to point, and all of you at once say, what happened to your face? I do that, and they answer, and they ask, and they all say it together because they're interested in what I am doing. And what I do is I'll tell a little bit about my face, and then I'm a shape shifter. At first, they see a disfigurement that is not good. But within 10 to 15 minutes, I radiate heart, and I'm funny, and I am a great storyteller. And so what's happening is that they are relating to me exactly as they are. They see a person who's disfigured, yes, who radiates confidence. And that's what they want for themselves. What I am saying here now is that we who have a facial difference have a better understanding of the human condition than so-called normal people, because we have had to find our beauty inside ourselves, and we radiate it out. And we radiate it out with our presence, which expresses itself in a lot of ways: writing, speaking, music, etc. And I think that Rasheera and Dr. Jaslay radiate that too. And I want to say something about them, the first recipients of the 𝐃𝐚𝐯𝐢𝐝 Award. Their presence comes, now this comes from my Catholic upbringing, where the three best virtues are faith, hope, and charity. Now, they both act out of faith. They believe sincerely in what they're doing, and they do not question it. They believe in hope. They believe that by our actions, we can change the world. And charity means heart, heart, heart. That's what they all do. And that gives me confidence in the future of advocacy. The nominees, oh my God, are just incredible. And we found a really good one, though. You'll see. So I am proud and happy to be here tonight, and it inspires me It inspires me. I believe, I have faith, I have hope, and I have charity, love, heart. And that's what all the people that CCA comes in contact with and encourages doing the same thing. Erica, you're number one on that list, of course. All of us are. So I want to thank you, and let's do it. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, David. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Let's do it. Next, we're going to introduce 𝐾𝐯𝐲, who's going to get us rolling. I will say another delight of my work is finding people who come to our community with that faith, hope, and charity, but not by way of facial difference. But they're drawn by a deeper connection and still, again, fueled by love. One of those such individuals is 𝐾𝐯𝐲 𝐀𝐻𝐃. 𝐾𝐯𝐲 came to CCA by way of an email asking if we needed any interns. And let me say, I never anticipated how much we needed her. One of 𝐾𝐯𝐲's first big projects was organizing the CCA office care package room. It blew my mind. Such care and creativity went into her efforts, and the way she optimized operations were vital to improving this program. But that was just one project. She also helped us navigate the influx of orders and requests that came during those fateful wonder years, where there were weeks that we needed to ship out about 300 packages of various materials, books, and t-shirts. We were not, and they're still not, a fulfillment warehouse, but 𝐾𝐯𝐲 found applications and created systems to organize our team to meet the needs of thousands of students across the country. Every idea that has popped up at a board meeting or a conversation or at retreat or any number of ways, 𝐾𝐯𝐲 has been willing to think deeply about it and turn it into actionable processes. I am so proud to work with her, and I have seen her grow into someone who has her own vision and skill in storytelling. Now focused mostly on content creation to showcase and represent our community, 𝐾𝐯𝐲 works with our speakers and advocates and trains our interns. She is passionate, organized, and deeply thoughtful. I value her judgment, perspective, and work ethic immensely, and it's my pleasure to introduce her tonight to talk about her program, the Speakers Bureau. 𝐾𝐯𝐲.
Thank you, Erica. I am deeply grateful for your beautiful introduction, your kind words, and your continuous support. I am also honored by your continued belief in my skills and ideas and your willingness to mentor me to grow both professionally and personally. I'm truly fortunate. I am so excited to be here today to celebrate David's legacy of broadening acceptance and inclusion of facial differences. CCA's Speakers Bureau was founded in 2018 to create a platform for CCA kids and adults to share their passions, interests, professions, and personal stories with the world. The Bureau provides training and guidance, equipping our speakers with the resources and guidelines they need to educate the general public through speaking engagements. Personal experiences and interactions have a profound impact. They create empathy and bonds. Audiences are much more likely to empathize with and retain information when it is delivered by someone with a lived experience, giving a real face to medical terminology and statistics. We have heard this feedback time and time again from classrooms, libraries, corporations, and other organizations that have hosted our speakers. While we are not always able to capture the amazing speaking engagements that our speakers participate in, we have reached nearly 6,000 students through speaking engagements alone and almost 78,000 through our Choose Kind initiative over the past 6 years. These numbers are impressive, but the true impact of our Speakers Bureau is not measured in numbers, but in the faces of the students and adults who interact with our speakers and in the speakers themselves. Many of our speakers shared that the experience of speaking to a public audience has helped them to build confidence, develop character, and promote inclusion. When our speakers share their stories, they are not only educating others, but they are also challenging stereotypes and creating a more inclusive world. And then with that in mind, I'm delighted to introduce one of our inspiring speakers and one of the 2022's recipients of the David Roche Award of Excellence in Advocacy, Dr. J.𝐸 Gray. Dr. J.𝐸 Gray is an assistant professor of communication studies at Pepperdine University and an international public speaker and presenter. She believes that story transforms the soul. She is a narrative researcher with expertise in entertainment and patient narratives who is interested in both how people in marginalized communities can use narrative to develop resiliency and how the media production processes can be used to empower those communities. After earning a bachelor's with a concentration in journalism from Middle Tennessee State University and a master's in television, radio, and film from Syracuse University, she spent several years working in one of the most appearance-focused industries in the world, Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. She worked for companies including TV network, BET, and film studio Paramount Pictures. During that time, she co-founded the studio's first and HOC committee to address health-related diversity among employees. Dr. Gray has nearly 50 surgeries for a rare craniofacial disability. In addition to teaching, she speaks, moderates panels, and leads workshops on a range of topics, including the power of stories, media representation, health equity, empowerment, health self-image, patient-centered care, and resilience. Her work is centered in services. Her nonprofit, Jazz's Jammies, has collected over 17,000 pairs of pajamas for sick and disabled children and organized volunteer opportunities for over 8,000 people. Dr. Gray has been featured on affiliate networks for NBC, CBC, ABC, and Fox, discussing her advocacy work, and on national and international platforms, including NPR and BBC Radio, discussing media representation of marginalized communities like those with disabilities, including craniofacial differences. Dr. Gray is motivated to use every gift and opportunity to glorify God and help transform lives. J.𝐸, it has always been a pleasure collaborating with you on the Speakers Bureau. Over the years, I know we have consulted extensively on how to improve the program and make it more rewarding experience for our speakers. Thank you for your insights and guidance. And now I will pass it over to Dr. Gray to share a few words.
Life happens to us all. And when life happens, change is the result. Change is inevitable. Positive transformation is not. Doesn't it seem like people, those not in our craniofacial community, take it for granted? Like they assume we become these strong, resilient change makers by default. And maybe we, those committed to bringing change to our community, maybe we sometimes internalize this assumed inevitability. I can admit that I have. Becoming desensitized to the extent of our distinct forms of greatness. As our committee reviewed the nominees for the 2023 David Roche Award, I felt stirred, reawakened, revived, and reminded. I was reminded that positive transformation, the capacity for challenge to elicit evolution, that takes work. This award is vital to our community because deep down, we know the truth. The truth is, life challenges could have caused our nominees to stagnate, to turn inward, overly focused on themselves as individuals and consumed by their situations. Yet their response was to be called higher for a collective good, to be motivated, fueled even, driven toward divine wisdom, wellness, and life work that persists independent of their circumstances or even because of them. It's an absolute honor to collaborate with organizations like CCA, dedicated to recognizing those doing the work. We exist in a world in which our near existence is viewed as either illegitimate or exceptional. And here we are, daring not only to survive, but to thrive, to bring about change to others in the craniofacial community and to a society invested in our invisibility. I believe that story transforms the soul. It's why I was called to make empowering storytellers my life's work. Story transforms hearts and minds and motivates behavioral change. So as we equip speakers in the craniofacial community through training and encouragement that prepares them to advocate for themselves, for opportunities that honor their expertise and equitable forms of compensation, we ensure that the art and the science of a powerful story are used to break the chains of social stigma, leading to the improvement of all of our quality of lives. After all, that's what we're seeking for our community. To our nominees and all future award winners, may the story of your life be transformation. May the fruit of your work be freedom. To everyone tuning in tonight, thank you for being here with us. And may God bless each of you as you continue speaking truth to power.
Thank you, Jazz. Thank you for those eloquent remarks. And now I am delighted to introduce our second recipient of the 2022 David Roche Award of Excellence in Advocacy, Rasheera Dobson. Rasheera Dobson, MPH, is a motivational speaker, podcaster, author, DEI consultant, and qualitative researcher fellow at the Institute of Human Development at Northern Arizona University, in which her intersectional approach to systems thinking has supported organizations and their teams to advance equity and mitigate health disparities in multiply marginalized communities through community engagement, policy development, education, and advocacy. She founded the Dobson Foundation, whose organization aim is to advance professional, health, and social equity for women and girls with disabilities. Along with the David Roche Award of Excellence in Advocacy, Rasheera received 2 additional awards in 2022, the Fearless Woman Global Community Impact Award and the Women's History Month Advocacy Award recipient for the year 2022. Rasheera has also played an integral role in the Speakers Bureau development. I vividly recall our first meeting at the 2018 retreat in Salt Lake City. We were seated around a table with David Roche and Dee Dee Dangleton discussing the Speakers Bureau inception and our vision for creating a platform where individuals could share their passions, professions, and journeys while providing resources and community for growth. Thank you for challenging us to see the world from new perspectives and for helping us to create a more inclusive and equitable world through your work. And I will now pass it on to Rasheera to share a few words.
Thank you, Khadija, for that introduction. First, let me start by saying that I'm extremely grateful to be in this space. I know that we are still in the month of September and we are wrapping up Craniofacial Acceptance Month, which we all in the community recognize for the month of September. And so I do not believe it is by coincidence that we are hosting this event tonight to recognize individuals within our community who are building up the amplification of our community and how vital that is into the work of advocacy to be done and to impact generations now and long lasting. We all know that people with facial differences haven't always been treated the best, and how we have come a long way within our community. As Erica stated in the beginning, from the days of wonder, and when she was saying that it was in 2017 and it has been almost a decade, I just could not believe it because I remember picking up Wonder for the first time and flipping and reading through the pages of the book and crying because that was the first time that I had ever read of a character who had a narrative so similar to mine. And so to know that we in our community are still on the path of moving forward and we are building spaces of trust, acceptance, and inclusion and healing, and how these tools of this award, how these tools of community gathering are really just providing moments of healing that individuals in our community we so desperately need. I was reminded by a quote of a writer named Kelly Harrell, who once stated that we do not heal in isolation, but we heal in community. And this quote resonated with me because it was within the CCA community that I found and discovered a depth of healing that I didn't know that I needed. When I think about the Children's Craniofacial Association and the impact it has had on individuals in the US and even abroad living with facial differences, I think of it as an organization that has been committed and intentionally carved out brave spaces in which children and families can come together and find a sense of belongingness and acceptance. I can recall back to my first time at a children's craniofacial retreat that we host in the summer, in which it was my first time ever encountering another individual with the same condition as mine. And I remember after the craziness of the days and sitting through all the different sessions and really meeting other people who also had golden heart syndrome, who also had Pfeiffer syndrome, who also had 𝐃𝐚𝐯𝐲 syndrome, and meeting all these beautiful individuals with varying degrees of facial differences. I remember going back to my hotel room and I laid my head on the pillow and I remember tears falling down my eyes. And I know some of you were thinking, well, were you crying? Did something bad happen? I wasn't crying tears of frustration or negativity, but I was crying tears of joy because it was the first time in the 25 years of my lived experience that I felt like I belonged. And has been such a powerful tool and balm and agent in my life as I continue to grow in my identity as a woman of color who lives with a disability and a facial difference. I will say that although I know that my role within the community continues to change over time, when I first think about my encounters and being involved with the community at large, I just started out as a patient who was looking for a sense of community and how my identity as a patient has evolved into a community member. And from a community member, I then became a storyteller. And then from a storyteller, I then became an educator. And then from an educator, I became an advocate. And then from an advocate, I became a speaker. And now above and beyond. And how, even though I've continued to grow and evolve in my identity and my roles within the community, one of the roles that continues to ground me in the work that I do in our community and in the disability community at large is the role of an advocate. It has been within the CCA community that my pathway of advocacy has grown into this beautiful journey that has given me the opportunity and the platform to speak with individuals, legislators, community leaders, activists across the nation and even around the world. And that one of my deepest sentiments is that I wish the beauty of this journey that I continue to experience on all who desire to give back to this community in such impactful ways. And so I want to take the time to thank you all for coming out tonight and not only showing your support, but I'm so excited about the outstanding nominees who will be recognized for the impact they will continue to leave on our community. Please know that the work that you are doing now, sometimes it may seem frivolous, sometimes it may seem tedious, but you are leaving a lasting impact and, more importantly, a lasting legacy, so that we have the next generation of craniofacial little boys and girls. They will have a trail and a pathway to follow. I encourage you to keep up the good work and to continue to let your differences change the world for the better. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Jazz and Rasheera. I'm just trying to collect myself after both of you spoke. Not only so beautifully and so stirringly and movingly, but also thank you for giving CCA the credit. Like I feel a lot like both of you. I just came, or as Rasheera spoke about, I came as a patient looking for a community, and it is amazing that together we create this community. I have often said we are not people doing good for other people. We are people doing good with other people. We are the people doing the work. And so I was just completely moved by what both of you said. So thank you for both of your different speeches that brought so much to light, that I am also feeling the healing, the surprise, the gratification of getting to read these stories tonight. Thank you. I am now going to move into just a little bit of the process of our speakers, of our award criteria, and I will let you guys know what that is before we introduce our nominees. We started collecting nominations this year in June with the following guidelines. The David Roche Award for Excellence in Advocacy is an annual award bestowed on a speaker, educator, storyteller, artist, medical professional, or family member in the facial difference community who has gone above and beyond to advance the status of people with facial differences, promote acceptance and appreciation of appearance diversity, and challenge the stigma that surrounds physical differences. The award is named in honor of the esteemed David Roche, CM, for his lifelong dedication to opening minds and connecting hearts, and for his invaluable mentorship and support through the staff of Children's Craniofacial Association. David is a champion of love. He seeks to break down barriers and build bridges between diverse communities. David is an incredible listener who, after years of finding and honing his own voice, has lifted thousands of voices and helped them access truer authenticity and reach new audiences. David cultivates confidence and creates spaces for conversations. His core characteristics of warmth, wit, and authenticity have changed the hearts of many and lifted the spirits of those in the facial difference community. It is with our utmost gratitude for his body of work and genuine interest in giving back that we established this award in his name. The award will be given each September, which is, in fact, Craniofacial Acceptance Month. The award will come with a monetary honorarium of $500. The award will be selected by the David Roche Award Committee for Excellence in Advocacy, which is made up of the Children's Craniofacial Association Executive Director, its Outreach Director, David Roche, and the past award recipients. Nominations for the award will be solicited each year from June to July, and the committee will meet in August to review nominations and select a winner. Selected recipients may come from submitted nominations, but do not have to be selected from the nominations collected. The award is meant to be only received once per person. The recipient should display characteristics that embody David's lifetime of work: remarkable spirit, warmth, wit, and authenticity. And the award will be presented live virtually, if possible, every year, as we are doing tonight. After we collected the nominations, we met as a committee and decided we will be adding some more criteria for the next year, because it was so hard to choose a winner and there were so many things we wanted to consider this year. But the beauty of this program is that as new winners are added, they will help envision and direct the award as it evolves and lives on as a record of the progress of advocacy. We do plan to consider the trajectory and recency of someone's advocacy efforts versus the length of service and history of someone's work. We also plan to determine if there should be a threshold of connection to the craniofacial community versus the disability community at large. And of course, we found the need to lay down some additional criteria, such as should award be given to staff members and other general eligibility requirements. When we meet next month with our new winner, we will add these criteria to the nomination form that you see online. But please know that for this year, we went off the guidelines initially set, and we were guided by the discussion of the committee. As I mentioned earlier, we had 71 nomination submissions representing 29 people. We will start with the list of nominees excluding the winners, and then read 3 of the selected nominees whose nominations we wanted to share aloud because of their impact upon us, and then we will present the winners. So I will turn it over now to Khadijah to start reading the names.
Thank you, Erica. Again, we are deeply grateful to all those who nominated individuals for this year's award. We received an overwhelming number of nominations for people from within CCA and the broader community who are passionate about serving and advocating for those with craniofacial differences. We know that it is only a small glimpse of the many people who do this important work. And now I will go ahead and read the names of a few of the nominees. Andrew and Christy Lund, Carolina Sommer, Constance Jackson, Dina Zuckerberg, Diana Sweeney, Eric Papadeas, Hannah Setzer, Isaiah Acosta, Jennifer Brady, Jill Patterson, Jono Lancaster, Kara Jackman, Ladarius Davis, Lisa and Richard Guyette, Lauren Messer, Maxim Hedem, Nick Navixie, Nicholas Nikiforu, Peter Dankelson, and Terrence Skees. And now I will pass it on to Erica to read the excerpts of the 3 nominees that we had mentioned.
An absolute round of applause for all of those nominees. Again, thank you for all being who you are. It was so lovely to see your names and hear your names and see your photos. The first nominee with an excerpt that we would like to read is Austin Halls. And just a reminder, while we are keeping the nominators' information private, these are excerpts and compilations from the following nominee stories. So I'll start with Austin. Austin is a wonderful person who has Mobius syndrome. Born with non-progressive facial paralysis and having undergone over a dozen surgeries, Austin has gained strength and wisdom through his struggles, both physical and mental. He has chosen to use his experiences in the most positive ways possible to bring awareness to the world about Mobius syndrome and other craniofacial conditions. He does this through having a very active social media presence, attending in-person and virtual events to speak and also give representation, and volunteering to serve as a member of the Mobius Syndrome Foundation Board of Directors, where he advocates for ways that the foundation can best support people in our rare community, as well as ways we can raise awareness and support. Austin has made it his mission to raise awareness about facial differences and Mobius syndrome to create a kinder, more inclusive, and equitable world by educating in a positive way. His TikTok, Instagram, and other social media platforms have many followers, and he spends time creating advocacy videos that don't feel condescending to those who are in need of the most education. Austin has also created a free podcast on Spotify called The Power of Perspective, which is dedicated to sharing positive messages on topics including dating with a difference, disability, experiences undergoing smile surgery, and the craniofacial experience from his unique perspective. He recently attended the My Face Celebrates Awards ceremony in New York as a backup vocalist and played the guitar. He has also attended recent positive exposure events, is a volunteer speaker at the Mobius Syndrome Foundation National Conference. Austin volunteers his time working with teens that have Mobius syndrome and has directed virtual chat sessions for teens to help build their confidence and help them realize their value, potential, and see their differences as their strengths. Austin recently created a video where he explained how his disability was actually his superpower, and that without his experiences and his challenges as a gay, disabled person, he would not have had the opportunities he has had now. Austin has also been featured in news articles and online viewing programs. Austin is a testament to the world that being born with a facial difference or any disability does not mean you can't live a rich, joyful life. He is truly creating a better world with his inner light, joy, and passion for helping educate and uplift others in a positive and effective way. That is Austin. Our next nominee, who I will be reading many pieces of her nominations, is Britt Underwood. And I will try to let you know when I am switching to another one of the nominator stories. Britt has organized a group of families who are affected by a super rare genetic mutation, mandibulofacial dysostosis with microcephaly, MFDM. This mutation was only recognized in recent years, and the number of people affected seemed relatively small since it had not been identified. However, Britt has worked to educate the medical community, the general community, and the affected community about the condition. She has organized and led conferences, leads a community on social media, and has devoted herself to this cause. Another says, "This condition was not identified when my daughter was born. She never saw anyone who looked like her. And now I can show her people who look just like her on Facebook, and she knows she's not alone. There are so many stories now, and it is due to Britt's work." Another, Britt is the first person I think of when I think of advocacy. When my son was first diagnosed with this rare genetic disorder, I immediately went to Google, and one of the first things I saw was an article written by Britt. In the article, she outlined all that was known about the disorder and how she has had to advocate for her son with the disorder. My son's geneticist then directed us to a Facebook group for the families with this disorder. And again, I saw Britt's name as the organizer of the Facebook group. Our entire community has found an immense amount of support and leadership in Britt. She has taken initiative to set up annual conferences for our community and organize doctors and geneticists to meet with us. Britt is always up for a challenge and never hesitates to advocate for our kiddos. She is such a light, and I look up to her immensely. Britt's work is tireless. Most parents of a child with a rare condition put all of their energy into seeking information. But Britt puts her energy into seeking information, sharing it, gathering families, and advocating for medical research and best practices. And finally, she put together the first ever medical conference for MFDM, allowing our families to meet others in person with the same condition, gathering professionals from the craniofacial world to speak to us. Having us all in one space allowed for even more research to be gathered by the Cincinnati Children's Hospital. She created World MFDM Day for our families on June 22nd. We are so proud of her and her advocacy for our families and proud of our children with MFDM. Such a beautiful, beautiful compilation of stories. Congratulations, Britt. And the final excerpt that I will read is Monir Saka. And I do believe I have misspelled her name on this slide, so I apologize for that. Her last name is spelled Sakha, so my apologies. This is one of the most beautiful nominations that we have had, and I will definitely try to get through it without crying since I've read it a few times now. Monir has been graciously and generously facilitating the virtual parent support group affiliated with the Foundation for Faces of Children. I know the group was meeting in person long before I joined, but I have been a member since the beginning of the pandemic in 2020. Monir is kind, thoughtful, sensitive, respectful, and understanding. She is the mother of a daughter with Craniofacial syndrome who has had other issues that would make it next to impossible for anyone else to be as involved and as supportive as she is. But she makes it look easy. Somehow, Monir is selflessly able to facilitate our parent group and the young people's group, generously offering her time and insight and expertise when she spends countless hours every day in appointments and on calls to support her own daughter. My experience watching her lead our parents in discussion has been nothing short of extraordinary. We all come to the group hesitant, afraid, tentative, uncertain about who we will meet, what we will say, if we'll feel comfortable, and how we'll fit in. Each of our kids has a different type of facial anomaly. All of our kids have been through more medical intervention and more hospitalizations and suffered the psychological scars of looking different than their peers. But she makes each of us feel as if though what we have to share or what our kids are going through or what we as parents are going through is important, relevant, and still worthy of telling. She lovingly holds space for each of us and delights in the camaraderie we learn to develop with one another. She cares about the kids, cares about the parents, cares about the goals and mission of the foundation. She supports us through hospitalization and prepares us for what to expect. She reminds us that our kids have their own journeys and their own lives to live, and we can only give them roots and wings. She is there when it feels like the bottom is falling out from under us. She is heroic, a warrior disguised as a princess. I applaud her efforts, and I am indebted to her service to parents, children, and the clinicians who treat them. Monir's measured temperament shows itself in quiet leadership. Monir is the light I could not see. Monir is an angel, and she deserves our accolades. Such a beautiful tribute to Monir. Thank you all for sharing those very, very beautiful stories with us. One more time, I'd just like to bring us all on screen just to give a virtual round of applause to all of the nominees and all of the stories and nominations they represent. Thank you so much. All right, now we will move into our next section of this award ceremony, the winners. Just from the stories alone, you can see how hard it was to pick a winner. I would certainly like to remind everyone watching tonight that you can nominate these nominees again next year. And I look forward to many more wonderful years ahead of us, recognizing and honoring each of these advocates and more to come. This year was unimaginably hard in another way. We lost two incredibly loved, cherished, and important members of our community. There is no adequate way to sum up what these two people meant to our craniofacial community. And on that note, tonight we have decided to give 2 David Roche Awards for Excellence in Advocacy posthumously. These 2 recipients are from different parts of the country. They were definitely at different life stages, but they both made a huge impact on the world. One of their lives started just as craniofacial conditions were thrust into the public eye with wonder. And while being compared to a blockbuster movie star definitely has its perks, it also comes with a host of challenges. The other winner was the only known living person with his syndrome. Again, being one of a kind has a certain celebrity status to it, but it can also be a hard and isolating road to travel. Both of these individuals were loved across the world, and both of them lit up a room. Both of them told their stories with enthusiasm, despite one of them being only a preschooler and one of them using his parents as translators. Their lives transcended what we can even quantify as advocates because of how special they each individually were. Before we had even collected all of the nominations and closed the nomination process, Khadijah and I knew we wanted to somehow recognize both of them tonight during the ceremony. Unsurprisingly, we didn't have to come up with anything other than to read the nominations as they came in, and we quickly found both of their names had been submitted multiple times. Therefore, we asked the committee if they would consider awarding 2 David Roche Awards posthumously. These awards are non-monetary, and unfortunately, they are no longer Earthside to be able to join us as the committee to select future winners. But they are full recipients of the award, as both embodied remarkable spirit, warmth, wit, and authenticity. And it is my pleasure to announce the 2 posthumous recipients of the David Roche Award for Excellence in Advocacy, Paul Patrick P.J. Reynafarhe and Robert Scott Guzzo. I will read PJ's story first. I met PJ when he was just shy of 4 months old. In the whirlwind that was his first months of life, Crystal had already taken the world by storm on Instagram and decided to use her and PJ's life for advancing kindness, had set up a fundraising event for nonprofits across the globe in just 4 months. That kind of energy and passion is what had made Crystal successful before PJ. She had already forged a career in a notoriously difficult industry, celebrity makeup artist, and now she was going to forge kindness and understanding in the worlds that PJ inhabited, a sterile and often stoic medical community, a local community needing to be educated about Treacher-Collins syndrome, and a social media landscape rife with bullies and, frankly, sometimes idiots at every turn. Crystal and Paul never backed down from these challenges of raising PJ. Through it all, they were evolving and growing just as PJ grew. PJ and Crystal were a dynamic duo, visiting classrooms across Southern California and beyond. They were generous, passionate, determined, magnanimous, and resolved. Crystal has continued advocating for the craniofacial community in PJ's memory. She is still promoting our Choose Kind initiative, speaking, working as volunteer staff for CCA as our new educational engagement coordinator, and attending our fundraising events. She will accept this award in PJ's honor tonight. And even though Crystal is not the winner of this award, I know that PJ is happily sharing it with you. You were and are the keeper of his story, and you steward it so well. In just the last week, we were able to see each other. You've helped me understand how far our Speakers Bureau can still go and improvements that we can still strive to make, and you will be a part of that. You are absolutely a part of this award with him. I've shared this before, but I will share it again because it means a lot to me. It's a quote I heard that has always stuck with me. It says, "Some people aren't born to be happy. They're born to be great." Maybe you were not born to be happy because happy sounds preposterous after losing a child. But you are here to make a difference, to continue making that difference. You are here and you are great. PJ came and he was also great. But as I said before, I think he got to be happy and great. And maybe, just maybe, that is why his time was far too short. He did great work. He changed thousands of lives easily. He was so deeply cherished and celebrated and loved. Life wasn't fair to him with surgeries, but he had his refuge in you, his mother. You were his safe space, and together you made this world safer, not only for him, but for all kids who feel differently, for all adults who feel differently. The impact you made is not diminished because he left us earthside. It is compounded. And now David will present the award to Crystal.
To be the one who formally presents you with this award, I want to tell you, tonight, you changed my life. There's another bit of love that's entrenched in my heart simply from hearing about you and knowing who you are. You're an extraordinary person, as is Paul. I'm proud to announce, along with the rest of CCA, that you are the recipient of the 𝐃𝐸𝐯 Award. Thank you very much.
Crystal, if you have a few words you want to share, you are more than welcome to say those now. I think she might be having technical difficulties. We will. No, we can't hear you. We'll try to come back if we can. But we're so grateful that you're here to accept this award tonight. I can now transition into Scott's story. Yes, thank you everyone for that round of applause. I am happy to read Scott's story, not happy to read it in his absence, but it was wonderful to compile it again over these last few days. I was able to rewatch portions of his celebration of life, which was just a few months ago, and it again reaffirmed everything that we're doing here tonight. And I loved what Paula said. She never said, why, God, did this happen? She said, what do we do with it? And as we've spoken tonight, we see what we're doing. And as Jazz mentioned, it's not an accident. It is intentional. So as I said, Scott's story that we have here to share a piece of it tonight is compiled from stories CCA has written about him over the years, including a tribute piece from our 30-year series that was written by Kara Jackman, another one of our nominees tonight, who lends her advocacy to writing and editing her blog. So I want to credit her for her words. And I've also included pieces from tribute posts online and from Scott's obituary. The Guzzos, Paula, Bob, Scott, and their son Aaron, are the ultimate 4-member advocacy team. Watching this family create an ecosystem of support, opportunities, and life-enhancing love for their son Scott and other people with facial differences is something that must be experienced. Seamlessly, the Guzzos waltz into all kinds of spheres, making the space their own, putting everyone at ease, while simultaneously allowing Scott to shine. Or in other words, for him to be himself. Paula and Bob were tireless advocates from the very beginning, researching each and every diagnosis that Scott was given in hospital and pharmaceutical libraries they had to access through their employers in the mid-1980s. They went on to fight to get Scott into an inclusive classroom in the same school as their younger son, Aaron, in their hometown of Evansville, Indiana. Much of their educational and individual education program, IEP journey, was documented in a series of informative blogs published on the CCA Kids blog in October 2013, 10 years ago. That's how long they've been at this advocacy work. The posts are chock full of insights and ideas that only the Guzzos could create, thanks to their taking a critical eye to interactions with school, local, national, and government officials. At the end of the second blog in the series, Paula says it so well. Please do not read this and feel sorry for Scott or us. Instead, celebrate the victories and know that one person, one family, can and does make a difference. Scott was born with what initially was an unnamed condition and was later diagnosed at age 11 with Craniofacial syndrome. The extremely rare syndrome, with less than a dozen known cases to date, affects his skull, face, and other parts of his body. He relied on help from his family and care attendants to see him through each day. Nevertheless, Scott has an indomitable spirit, a spitfire wit, and impeccable taste in music. Paula says, Scott embraced life and celebrated everything, all day, every day. He is joyful. He is mostly non-judgmental and accepting. Scott's faith is unwavering. He is bold and kind at the same time. He leads us in those areas. No words can do justice or ever describe our love for Scott, our admiration and respect, and deep appreciation for what he did and who he was to our community. Scott and the entire Guzzo family are a cornerstone for CCA. Always there to volunteer and welcome new families, Scott never met a stranger and always made a friend. Scott's advocacy earned him an invitation to the White House in 1997, where he met President Bill Clinton. Scott volunteered at the EVPL Library and was employed at Roberts Stadium, the Ford Center, and the Old National Events Plaza. He was privileged to carry the 2004 Olympic torch and the 2016 Indiana Bicentennial torch. And, most famously to our community, he proudly served as mayor of the CCA retreat. He is perhaps our most celebrated CCA member, and that is a tall order in a community full of local celebrities, hometown heroes, and golden children of the family. Scott reigned over us all. We are so honored, and even a bit sad still, of course, to present this award to his parents, Bob and Paula Guzzo.
Bob and Paula, I am so happy to make this announcement and to formally present this award. First of all, because I am a Hoosier, born and bred, okay? And my daughter still lives in Bloomington, so we're both from the same place. And I'm also fortunate because I got to meet Scott and spend some time with him, and all the things you say about him are so true, and I got a good taste of them. What an incredible life! What an incredible life that you lead, and I am just beyond proud and happy to announce that you are a recipient of the 𝐃𝐶 Award. Thank you very much for being who you are.
Thank you. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Good. We are going to put Scott right between us here.
Don't like them.
And, well, a little reflection.
There.
We are both very thankful, but sad at the same time that we are accepting this on Scott's behalf. And this is an award we recognize is for Scott. It's not for Paula or me. This is Scott. And we're going to make a few remarks here. They're going to be about Scott's advocacy and what he did in his life. And he would be so proud if he was here right now to be receiving this. He would be given a big woohoo, rock on, and let's party. But we're going to talk about 3 areas that we think Scott had an impact on: education, in his community, and just social life and friends and what have you in general. And Paula's going to talk first, and then I'll talk about community, and then she'll come back and talk about his social impact and advocacy.
Yeah. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, David. Our hearts are definitely touched. We're still very tender, freshened into this journey of grief, but we have smiles every day, thanks to Scott. And, when we advocated for him to be educated in general education classrooms, it's because it felt like it was the right thing to do, because we always wanted Scott to be a part of life, not a part from life. And, it just made so much sense to have him with all students, typical students, students with disabilities or whatever. So we fought long and hard to make that happen. And there were benefits to that. We took a gamble. We didn't realize at that time all of the benefits, but Scott's mere presence in those classrooms have made such a difference. And there were administrators in the school corporation who learned a lot through Scott, and the students. It is amazing what the students learned. Those students, many of them grew up to be part of medical services, healthcare services. Some of those students have reached out to let us know that they are a parent of a child born with a disability, and knowing Scott and seeing how he got through school and how he was a part of things has really helped them. Scott was in a full stage production of a play. He went to the all-nighter party because some of the classmates came to us and asked, how do they take care of him? How could they make him a part of that? We started speaking when Scott was in elementary school. We would go to a number of places to speak, and didn't even realize at that time the impact that we were having. Bob's going to talk a little bit more about that, but I'm going to launch on now to after Scott graduated school and some of the volunteering and what he was doing, things like that. I worked at an alternative school as a parent engagement coordinator, and we were a school with a very diverse population, and part of that population were some of the students within our community who are members of gangs. And David, one of the first times I heard you speak, I laughed when you talked about people with facial differences getting together and could be their own gang. Well, Scott was somewhat folded into that culture. The students who were part of those gangs just absolutely loved him. They embraced him. I would pity anybody who would have gotten in our way. After all, they were all about family. It's probably no surprise to anybody to hear what his gang name was. He was known as Little Man. And there was one instance where one of our students had been incarcerated, and I went to him later when he returned to school, and I just told him, I said, you know, I missed you while you were gone. I prayed for you, and I'm glad to see you back. And he acted like he didn't even hear me. And he said, how's Scott? I said, Scott's fine. He's doing okay. And he probably said, how's Little Man? And I said, he's doing fine. He's okay. And he said, well, I just want you to know, while I was in juvie, he said, I thought a lot about Scott. He said, I thought about how I was in here because I did stupid things, and how Scott is, and he can't help how he is. And he said, I just thought a lot about Scott. And that just really touched my heart, that Scott going and talking to those students and being so open. He would always answer any questions that were asked of him. There really was not anything that was off limits to what could be asked. And so I think that's enough on the education part.
In the community, Scott's, because of his physical disabilities and his speech difficulty, his advocacy was different. It kind of seeped out, sometimes in a trickle, sometimes in a waterfall. But his was about his willingness and his desire to question accessibility or the lack thereof in our community. He would often say, don't they know? Or don't they understand? And then want us to help him figure out a way to fix things. Physical barriers were things that obviously were of concern to him. Voting rights were something early on, maybe 20 years ago. We had a new gas station in our hometown that opened up, and we had gone there to get something, and we're going in the front door, and they had brand new gas station. They decided to stack their firewood there on the sidewalk right outside the door, and then there was an edge there, so you couldn't get the wheelchair around it. So
it was between the ramp and the door.
Right, and so you couldn't get there, and they just hadn't thought about it. But he was very insistent that we talked in the store, and they said, well, you have to write to corporate. So he insisted that Paula and I draft a letter, help him draft a letter to get them to fix that, and by golly, they did too. But that's just sort of how he was. He loved telling his story about his disabilities, about his craniofacial differences. Often it was to school kids, mostly grade school kids. He would get in the middle of that. He would love every minute of answering their Q&A, telling his little anecdotes about himself. which impacted these kids to the extent that we know many of them went into careers as adults now that involve special education, nursing, doctors,
Behavior therapist.
behavior therapy, all of that sort of stuff because of Scott, they have told us. We went to colleges, our local colleges, where we talked to the PT students, OT students, other healthcare students,
Social workers.
social
nursing.
workers, all that sort of thing. And we did that many times, many years ago, between 10 and 20 years ago, a lot, and maybe even more recently. But Scott, of course, he was a chatterbox, and he was an open book, ask me anything, because he wanted them to understand about what life was like to be him, or what life was like to be a person with a craniofacial difference, or physical, or any sort of a disability. And that was just Scott. Scott also served and was proud to serve. We have a city-county disabilities advisory board, and it's to help the city and county fix things, recognize how things can be better for people with disabilities.
Figure out what they should have been doing in the first place.
Right. And Scott got nominated and put on that board. He was on it for 3 or 4 years, about 5 years ago. And he was very proud to serve on that. And he was very, very interested in making his opinion heard and listen to the gripes and the suggestions from our community. And that was a big deal. So I'll let Paula talk a little bit about the next third leg of this stool, his social impact.
So you do understand we have almost 40 years to cover here. Scott was just a little shy of his 40th birthday when he passed in June. And we haven't really talked that much about Aaron and Scott's relationship, but they were a team. As Erica said, we were the 4 of us involved in all of this. And so that meant Aaron's friends were also very much a part of what was going on. And, sometimes it took like a pit crew to get Scott through to what he needed to do, to be doing, to where he was going. And those friends just learned what needed to be done and helped make it happen too, just as Scott's friends had also done. Back on education, I will say the neighborhood kids came to our house and rode the bus with Scott. They wanted to ride the bus with Scott. It was a straight shot from our house to the school. They thought they had limo service.
Despite it being the short bus.
Yeah, right. They wanted to be on Scott's bus, and they had some good times on those trips back and forth to school. And, after school, then the volunteering at the library became a very normal progression of things for Scott to do to keep him active in the community. His being hired at the local venues for concerts and sporting events had him out in the public again. And just his mere presence in a room seemed to command attention. If he was there, he was highly recognizable.
And he would normalize, his disability would become normalized. It was just something that people came to accept, and his wonderful personality just made it all easier for everybody.
So yeah, and politics or legislative type things were mentioned earlier, and again, that's something Scott just fell into. There were some people running for public offices, and he wanted to go work in the campaign. And so he did. He went and worked at the polls for different people who eventually, most of them were elected to whatever positions. And just to talk about the importance of this, how it could have seemed like just a day out of school and going to the polls or whatever. But there was one of our state representatives after back in 2009, our family asked for a proclamation declaring September Craniofacial Acceptance Month. And the governor awarded that. And one of the people we knew, an Evansville state representative, featured CCA and Scott and our family in the proclamation in her newsletter, which we thought was, really touching that she did that. This person has gone on. She is now Indiana's lieutenant governor, and she is running for governor in the state of Indiana. So that's how just that little bit of time, that connection early on, even when you don't know what's happening. And again, I agree with things aren't left to chance. This was a part of the bigger picture and what started happening. So never underestimate, as Erica said, I've said before, the differences that one person could make. And Scott, being that one person, was able to make so many differences in the neighborhoods where we've lived. The neighborhood behind us has a clause now for accessibility, visitability, where there needs to be one accessible door in the homes. That's because of Scott and his situation and awareness of that. Scott's cousins, the family members, medical staff, legislators, celebrities, just any number of people who he came in touch with. His mere being was him being an advocate, and every time he went out the front door, basically. What? Oh, well, Bob's. We have some notes here. Delilah met him. The talk show host Delilah met him, and she talked about him on one of her shows. And he said her quote was that Scott has more personality than in his little finger than most people have in their entire bodies.
So again, on behalf of Scott, and this award's for him, we thank you for that. People who nominated him, and for him winning this award. I will say that if Crystal's technical problems are corrected, we'd love to see if her story is still available. But, thank you.
Absolutely. It looks like she is with us. Thank you so much, Bob. Bob, there we go. Call it Bob. Let me bring Crystal back up.
Hi, how are you? Hello.
Hi, Crystal.
We can hear you.
I switched locations, so hopefully this will be better. Sorry about earlier. I was actually fortunate that happened because Erica, you had me in tears. So thank you for giving me a few moments to compose myself. And thank you guys for giving us this award. Thank you to everybody who nominated PJ. When he was born, Wonder was still in theaters. And so I had the opportunity, he was in the NICU for quite some time, but I had the opportunity to leave him in the NICU for a few hours and go and see the movie in theaters. And I thought to myself, as a scared mother, I didn't know what to do. And when I saw this movie, I knew exactly what I was doing. So I knew at that moment, everybody needs to see this or read this. And everybody that is in my power to reach will read this or see this. And because I'm quite demanding and persistent and a little bit bossy, especially when advocating for my child, I just did my best to make that happen. So we teamed up with the CCA Speakers Bureau. As soon as it came out, as soon as I heard about it, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And we started doing that. And I thought it would be good for PJ to help him learn to advocate for himself by hearing me speak, and to also educate people on him and try to improve his environment and his quality of life by educating those around him. So we did what we could, and we also had a social media presence. I still take a lot of grief, as Erica mentioned, on social media. It is 99% love, and I wouldn't give it up for anything, but that 1% is absolutely graphically horrific sometimes. And, they do mostly attack me now. Why would you put him online? And I thought, why wouldn't I? He is the most beautiful little boy I've ever seen. He is charismatic, and I just, number one, never thought in my mind to hide him. I don't know why anybody would think that I should do that. I definitely never wanted him to grow up and say, Mama, are you ashamed or embarrassed of me? Like, why aren't you posting pictures of your baby like all other proud mothers do? I never wanted that from him. And I also thought, like I said, I just thought everybody needs to meet this little boy. So, we have a large social media presence as well. So I tried to advocate with social media as well. PJ, even though he was only 5, he definitely could have known that he was different, but he never let it show. I'm not even sure he had internalized it or realized it yet. He just didn't really care. Maybe just didn't care. I'm not sure. But kids, it can be a little unfiltered at playgrounds, and they would lift their hands and point at him, and he just didn't get it yet. And he thought that they were reaching out their hands to play, and he would just take their hand and run off to the playground with them. And so I just think he was special, and he was, just kind of born for that level of advocacy. Of course, if he ever said stop, it was all done right then and there, but he never did. He actually loved it. We went to schools, and he loved walking around. He loved the attention, and he just gobbled it up. So yeah, I think I was right. He was kind of just meant to do that role. And I was very grateful to do it by his side. So thank you, everybody, for the nominations, and I will try to continue, when it's not too terribly traumatic for me, to continue in this role and speaking in schools and volunteering for CCA, and continue doing what I'm doing. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you both for the words you shared and for accepting these awards. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you both. I wanted to go ahead and move into the next segment of our award ceremony. And before I did that, I wanted to go ahead and say a few words about the man behind the award, David. My dear mentor, David. I first met David virtually when I first joined CCA in 2018. And David has a unique way in making people feel enough and seen. I used to have weekly calls with David during the creation process of the CCA Speakers Bureau. And whenever I felt stuck or like I wasn't making progress, he would help me to see the steps I had achieved. And I have seen him mentor others in the same way time and time again. And the reason I emphasize David's mentorship is because I believe that excellence in advocacy is embodied by the grace and elegance with which one carries oneself, which elevates every word spoken and preached. The 2023 recipient of this award embodies the similar grace and elegance in the way she interacts with others and advocates for those in the facial difference community. And on behalf of the committee, I would like to congratulate my mentee, intern, and friend, Aaliyah Booker. It is only after Erica reminded me about my origin with CCA that I noticed the parallels in Aaliyah's involvement with CCA. March of last year, Aaliyah had reached out to us through Instagram, expressing her desire to share her experiences with kids and teens and to be a mentor and advocate within the facial difference community. A few months later, Aaliyah reached out to me to inquire about the possibility of establishing an internship with CCA, despite the fact that our organization was not initially listed as an option for students at her university. Her determination paid off when her internship was approved. Aaliyah has quickly become an integral member of our team, playing a key role in our CCA outreach series, where she interviews kids and adults with facial differences about their passions, expertise, and stories. She has interviewed 23 individuals thus far and has many more interviews planned for the future. Aaliyah's warm and welcoming personality creates a supportive environment where people feel comfortable sharing their stories. She has a natural gift for putting people at ease. In addition to her work with CCA, Aaliyah is a tireless advocate for inclusion and diversity. Earlier today, she was in Washington, D.C., championing for access and inclusion of resources for the facial difference community on Advocacy Day. Aaliyah is a senior at St. Peter's University studying biology and plans to pursue a doctorate in physical therapy for pediatrics. She is also an accomplished athlete, having earned a Division I track and field scholarship for her pole vaulting skills. Aaliyah, it has been such an honor watching you blossom and grow in your roles while staying true to yourself. I am so proud of all that you have accomplished in this short year. You are truly an inspiration to us all, and we are so excited for what the future holds for you. On behalf of the committee, congratulations again on this well-deserved award. I will now pass it on to David to present the award.
Aaliyah, wow, I am so happy to be doing this with you. You know, I've been interviewed hundreds of times over the last third of the century. You are the best interviewer I ever experienced. And that is quite a compliment and quite a challenge. And I know that the kind of community that you are building is so fantastic. And you just have a fantastic presence. I am so happy to officially make the announcement to give this David Roche Award to you. You're wonderful. Congratulations.
Oh my God, David, thank you. I am speechless. I'm trying to hold everything in right now, guys. I told myself I was not going to cry, but we are going to make it in. But again, thank you so much, Miss Khadija. Thank you so much, David, for this wonderful intro and, for those kind words. I truly appreciate you both. David, like you said, we had an amazing interview. We connected on a different level. You are truly one of a kind, and I had an amazing chat with you. Thank you again for being a part of our series. Miss Khadija, that's my girl. Miss Khadija, you had me crying in the intro already. But let's get into this. This award truly means everything to me. Oh my gosh. Let me get myself together, guys, because I said I was going to cry. Okay. I have to thank the one who does it all, God.
Amen.
Woo! First of all, I would like to thank God for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight. Whew. Whew.
You got it.
Whew. We're here.
You got it.
He has been with me through thick and thin,
Amen.
and it's due to his grace and love I am who I am today. Whew. I want to thank you, God, for always guiding me in the right direction and for knowing what is best for me more than what I do. Thank you for not hating me when I was ungrateful or rude or when my faith was shaken. Thank you for the love you have shown me through my family and friends. Woo! Thank you for inspiring me and to keep trying to be a better person. Thank you for being there when no one else was. Thank you for everything, and thank you for it all. That man, he was there, guys. He was there, and He is the reason I am who I am today. Whew. Next person, I really want to dedicate this award, because this award does not just goes to me. This goes to everyone that helped, played a role in, making me who I am today. So, hold on, let me cover the bookers. Can't have, can't be looking crazy on here. My next people I want to shout out is my parents. As y'all know, Miss Gloria and Ari Booker, oh my gosh. My parents. Thank you to the world's greatest cheerleaders. I am so blessed to have you both in my corner. You both are my daily inspiration to work harder, try more, and love fiercely. Without you guys, I don't know where I will be. In my darkest times, you showed me comfort. You reminded me that I am loved, accepted, beautiful, strong, and especially limitless. Let me say that again. Limitless. Limitless, such as putting me in the craziest sports to prove my worth in society and to prove that I am more than just my differences. Knowing that I have your love and support allows me to try new things, fail, but try again. Thank you so much, Mommy and Daddy. I love you so much.
Whoa, we love you
too. As y'all can see, they're in the background, so they're here with me too. We have a line, so but I'm gonna make it quick for y'all. Okay, I want to give a shout out to my brothers. For some of you guys don't know, I have 3 fantastic brothers, Julian, Justin, and AJ. Y'all are my world. Let me repeat that. I'm sorry. Y'all are my world. Y'all were my first best friends. And when I say siblings, man, siblings are the most strongest relationships to ever have. They're like one of the best relationships, between a sister and a brother. And no matter what, they'll always be there for you. AJ, Justin, Julian, you guys have meant the world to me. Being able to have beautiful brothers like y'all is such a privilege not everyone can have. I am indeed a lucky sister for sure. AJ, I know you out there. I know y'all watching. I know you're watching, AJ. AJ is my older brother, y'all. Thank you so much for showing me what a leader is. Thank you for showing me what... Woo. Thank you for being there when I needed you. Thank you for being my protector, my guider, and everything above. I know you're in Valdosta, Georgia. I wish I could hug you right now, but I just wanted you to know that you've always been my inspiration. I always looked up to you, and I'll always be your #1 supporter. Woo! That's just one brother, y'all. We got 2 more to go. Woo! Okay. On to Justin. Justin is my little brother. He is a middle child. Justin, thank you for being so patient with me. Thank you for being so creative. Thank you for being yourself, being undeniably yourself. Thank you for allowing me to be myself around you. Thank you for being my ride or die. Thank you for loving me the way I am, my #1 support, and everything above. Ooh, my baby brother Julian. That is my twin. No matter how much you grow up and get taller than me, you'll always be my cute baby brother, and I will love you throughout everything. Whew, I wish I could continue with y'all, but I gotta. Whew. Oh, okay. This one right here. This one hits home, y'all. I don't know. Like Miss Khadija say, we have an outreach series called CCA Outreach Series where I am a host, and throughout my interview series, I do talk about these 2 people, majority of my life. These 2 lovely ladies are my closest, best friends in the whole wide world, Madison Walker and Mia Davis. Guys, as you know, growing up with a facial difference is very hard to make friends. You know, in not all my life, but like throughout my childhood, not everyone was so nice or greeting. But these two stuck beside me through thick and thin, didn't judge me for nothing, saw past my differences. Madison, Mia, I know you're watching. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for accepting me. Thank you for being you. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for letting me not feel ashamed to be myself when I'm with you. Thank you for the laughs, for the cries, and everything in between. Thank you for being my rock and keeping me grounded. Thank you for all the things you do, big and small. Most importantly, thank you for showing me what beauty really is. Y'all are forever my sisters, and I will love you forever, and I got y'all back just how y'all got mine. Thank you for being there through all my surgeries. Guys, they've been there for my surgeries. And if some of y'all don't know, I do not like people seeing the process of my surgeries. I always been like, you know, whenever I had my surgeries or go to my doctor's appointment, I kept that very private. And for them, you know, it was different, you know. I always remember a quick little story time. I recently had, not recently, but like a year ago, I had like a major surgery and I was recovering. And I told them, like, I don't want you guys to come over the house at all until I am fully recovered. Because, you know, my craniofacial community, y'all understand, like, you know, when we come from surgery, we need our time. We need our, you know, our emotional, you know, support. We need to just be grounded and just process everything that had happened. So I told my parents, I was like, no, we can't have no one come over until I'm like healed. And my mom surprised me and they came over. Y'all should have saw my face. I was like, what are they doing here? But then just how they are, they didn't care that I had a wire hanging out of my neck or my ear. They just saw me for me. They didn't mind me swollen, face half shut. They saw me for me. And during that time, we went out. We went out. And mind you, I literally just had surgery and we went out. They made me feel beautiful when I thought I was the worst shape of my life. So having people like that in your life is such a, you know, rare thing to have, and I'm forever blessed to have them. Thank you, Mia and Madison. On to my grandmothers. I am grateful to have both of my grandmothers in my life. You guys are a constant source of love, wisdom, and inspiration. You have my internal gratitude, and I love you both beyond words. Grandma Gloria, Grandma G Glow, Samantha P. You have demonstrated to me that what it led to be joyful, compassionate, and to live a generous life. Shout out my aunts and uncles, Titi Tiffany, Titi Shauna, Titi Lely, Auntie Jen, Auntie Tessa, Uncle Charlie, Uncle Terrence, Uncle Ray, all y'all. Y'all have taught me the beauty of life, the beauty within myself. Whew. Oh my gosh. It takes a village to, you know, it took a village to, you know, to become who I am today. Like it really, you know, they really brought the personality out of me. They really brought the beauty out of me and everything above. So I really have to give them praise and their dues. Shout out to my cousins. I want to say my baby cousins, Tati, Mia, Yanni, Summer. I love you guys. And all my other older cousins, y'all are everything. This one is for my girl, my mentor, one of my mentors, my boss, aka Miss Khadija. As you know, she is the outreach director for CCA. She is a reason that I broke out of my shell and took that step out of my comfort zone and into the confident human, I'm striving to become. Whew. Miss Khadija, I always love our check-in meetings. I always look forward to it, where we discuss of all of our projects and ideas that we're working on, and also update each other on, life updates or anything. She has made it so easy for me to be myself in every interview I do with anyone, and has always encouraged and uplifted me after every interview or anything I do. She has taught me that organization and creativity play a big role in its success and work. Oh, Miss Khadija, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I know I say this a lot to you, and I know you reciprocated back, but this is your moment, My next person I want to present, Miss 𝐢𝐬𝐬 Bellew. Oh, Miss 𝐢𝐬𝐬, your leadership and example have helped me grow into my potential. You have consistently maintained strong business ethics while keeping a smile on your face and those people around you. Thank you so much for your guidance and useful advice. Ooh. Whew. As y'all know, I have so many mentors, 𝐢𝐬𝐬, Miss Khadija. Now I'm on to my next one, Ladarius, my bonus brother. Thank you for being the best bonus brother ever. Your presence, your wisdom, your love is everything. Your platform, The Healing Heart. I love watching your TikToks. I love promoting you. Everything you're doing is making the world a better place. Keep doing what you do. I love it. You changed me for the better. Thank you so much. My girl, oh my God, guys, Emily Merrill. Let me tell you a quick story about Emily Merrill. Emily Merrill is, I would say, the reason I found CCA. The reason I found CCA. Mind you, you guys don't know this part of me, but not a year ago, I wasn't confident. I wasn't this Aaliyah. I was literally ashamed of myself, was not confident, was lost, did not know who I was. I was embarrassed of my face and everything above. So it's crazy to say that last year, I was this whole different person. And just because of Emily Merrill popping up on my social media page and reaching out to me, and we going back and forth through social media, and she introduced me to CCA. So I'll always give her praise, her flowers for introducing me to CCA. Thank you so much, Emily. You my girl. I know you in school right now, Washington, D.C. right now, as I am. I'm gonna, thank you so much again.
Show me a shirt.
Another person I would like to dedicate this to, CHOP. CHOP is Children's Hospital Philadelphia. Thank you so much for creating this. Y'all, it took a whole village to make this, but we made it happen. Shout out to my Dr. Bartlett, my plastic surgeon, for always, being there. I knew this man since I was 3 years old, and he's been there with me physically and emotionally throughout my whole years. We still got work to do, but that's gonna wait. I want to also dedicate this award to say thank you to all my track coaches, Coach Marshall, Coach Haran, Coach Bob. I know you're watching this. I let y'all know the link and everything. I will always cherish the memories and lessons learned under your guidance. Y'all taught me valuable lessons that will stay with me forever and have made a lasting impact on my life, and I'll always be grateful. For you guys, as you guys know, I am a pole vaulter at St. Peter's University, and they have been there within everything. So I gotta give them the flowers as well. And lastly, I want to wrap this up. My CCA family. It has been such an empowering opportunity interning with CCA. CCA has molded me into the person I've always wanted to be. Being able to share my craniofacial journey and to be a light for others has truly been a blessing. Throughout my childhood, I've always struggled with embracing my facial difference, always felt unaccepted and ashamed of my appearance. I was known as a brave and heroic girl due to the amount of medical procedures I underwent, but always kept to myself, fearing what others thought of me. CCA has made me feel accepted and understood right from the start. Immediately welcoming me with open arms, being a face for CCA Outreach Series is the highlight of my college career and has opened doors for me that I never thought even existed. Oh, I know I said that was my last person I want to dedicate this award to, but I have two more. Miss Erica Clover, yes, the executive director of CCA. Miss Erica, thank you so much for believing me in my work and, for making me like the host for CCA and for trusting me with this project. It really is amazing to, have your trust. I really put all my all in this work. So I'm very grateful for you and everything CCA has done for me. Yeah. And my last person I want to say is this person has passed away. He is my uncle. I call him Uncle Edgar. Uncle, I know you're watching above. I know you are so proud of me and are watching and protecting me from above. I know that peace and strength and the love of God will keep us strong. I am deeply honored and blessed to have known you as my uncle. May you rest in peace. My uncle is one of my biggest blessings in my life, and I will forever carry you in my heart. Lastly, I want to say a quick little message to the craniofacial community. I know you guys see me as this confident and, being I am, but I want to share this part of myself with you guys. All my life, I struggle with self-acceptance, self-love, anxiety, self-rejection, and my biggest one, fear. Fear of being viewed and displayed in today's society, knowing I don't fit in with today's beauty standards. People automatically judging me based on my physical appearance, never giving me a chance to prove my worth. The shame, the guilt, the pain, the embarrassment I felt every time going in and out the hospital, having surgery after surgery, knowing I would never be normal. Those thoughts and those feelings are what I don't want any child or teen to ever go through mentally while growing up. So now, being able to prove to myself and to others that the impossible is possible has been the greatest blessing ever. Proving to myself that I am worth something and that my difference doesn't define me has made me mentally stronger to the point where I am advocating for you guys and other people with facial differences and disabilities that being different is beautiful. Being a support system and a comfort zone for others is so fulfilling because I know I'm making a difference in the world for my community. To be a part of such an amazing community means everything to me. To be able to connect and hang with kids, teens, and adults that also have differences like me is incredible. As a new influencer, I've opened up so fully about my craniofacial journey story and has been such an unreal feeling. Having so much support to be a light for others is truly a blessing. I will forever be a role model and an image for the craniofacial community and to preach that we are forever limitless. Let me say that again. We are forever limitless, and that our differences don't define who we are, and that we was born to stand out. Let's say that again. We was born to stand out. Okay? And a little poem I want to say. Majority of my life, I tried so hard fitting in with society and their standards. I tried so hard to the point that I didn't even recognize myself. I tried so hard to the point that people still didn't even want to come near me. I tried so hard that the only thing that noticed me changing was a person I saw in the mirror every day, and I hated that. My message is, don't ever try to fit in when you were born to stand out. And that's on period. I am here to break down beauty standards. I am here to cause good chaos, and I am here to stay. As you guys know, I am here in Washington, D.C. to advocate for the 𝐸LSA bill. As you can see, I advocating for the ELSA bill. As you know, it is called Ensuring Lasting Smiles Act, where I am representing for CCA and for New Jersey, and I am representing for us to get the coverage that we need for the surgery, so it'll be covered medically and not cosmetically. So everything I'm doing is for us and for our community. So remember, we was born to stand out, so let's shine. Thank you so much, CCA. I love you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aaliyah. Thank you for your candor, your vulnerability, sharing your story, and everything that you represent. I love your enthusiasm, and we were so proud to have you as our 2023 David Roche Award for Excellence in Advocacy winner, as well as Scott. David, thank you so much for being here. Jazz and Rasheera, you guys have brought so much to our community, and we are deeply, deeply grateful to you. I sincerely appreciate all of you for joining us tonight. I appreciate everyone who watched live and who will watch the recording at your own schedule on demand on YouTube, where it will live and stay. Please check out some of Aaliyah's other videos. Please reach out to us with more ideas for advocacy and how we can better serve our community. We look forward to this tradition continuing every year to recognize truly amazing individuals for their work in the craniofacial community as advocates. We hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night, and thank you for letting me be a part of this community as well. Good night, everyone.